Hi there, welcome to my views on news. Two news stories for you. First one is about Adwa Victory Day celebrations held in Ethiopia. Today, uh, arrests have been made. People were not allowed to go to a square. What happened? Details for you. What happened, especially in Addis Ababa. Secondly, Hassan Sheikh, Somalia's president, is relentlessly slamming Ethiopian government. He was in Turkey, where he attended Antalya Diplomacy Forum, and there he lashed out at Ethiopia. What did he say about Ethiopia? We have a clip for you and details of his talk in Turkey. Somalia, we know, has signed a defense pact with Turkey recently. First, viewers, on the 2nd of March every year, Ethiopians celebrate Adwa Victory Day. It was 1896 when Ethiopians defeated Italian colonial forces in Adwa, and that is why Ethiopians celebrate this day. They say that this day is a day of remembering Ethiopia's fight against colonialism. Ethiopia fought not just for Ethiopia but for entire Africa. So Adwa Victory Day should be celebrated by all black people. It is a symbol of black people's struggle against Western colonial powers. But the celebrations in Ethiopia become a little controversial every year. Last year, we saw that Ethiopian government prevented people from going to a square in Addis Ababa, where Emperor Menelik's statue is displayed. It is erected there. It's called Menelik Square or Piazza Square. We know that Oromos, some groups in Oromia accuse Emperor Menelik II that the emperor massacred Oromos, and some monuments have been built in Oromia to commemorate the sacrifices or to commemorate the alleged atrocities committed by Emperor Menelik II against Oromos. So, when it comes to history, there are different ways of reading the history, interpreting the history. Several viewers advise me to study history. They say, Saji should study Ethiopian history. But when I try to go deep into what happened decades ago, conflicting interpretations are seen. History is a source of conflict to some extent in Ethiopia. No agreement about flag, no agreement about language, no agreement about the legacy of Ethiopian emperors. Let's talk about today. Let's keep history aside. Talk about today, start anew. That is the way forward. Coming back to the topic, this year too, again, the participants of Adwa Victory Day celebrations in Addis Ababa was prevented from reaching Menelik Square. At the square, Menelik's statue is erected, but security forces, federal forces were deployed to prevent people from reaching the Menelik Square. It happened. People tried to reach, but they were not allowed to reach the Menelik Square. Celebrations were not held at the square. Last year, we saw some clashes between people and security forces close to Menelik Square. This year, there were no clashes, but security forces heavily guarded the Menelik Square, and people were not allowed to reach the square. Groups in Amhara say that deliberately Ethiopian government of PMRB wants to omit Emperor Menelik from Adwa Victory Day celebrations. That is why the celebrations have been shifted from Menelik Square to another square. Some arrests have been made too in Addis Ababa of people who were wearing clothes with Menelik picture or clothes with flag, Ethiopian flag without the sign. This flag is used by some groups in Amhara as two Ethiopian flag. They say that it was TPLF which changed Ethiopian flag, and the real Ethiopian flag was just a three-stripe flag. And some people have been arrested with this old flag pictures on their clothes. Arrests have been made, but no large-scale arrests. Several people were arrested today. We can say overall celebration in Addis Ababa was largely peaceful. Celebrations were held in other parts of Ethiopia too, in all regions. Celebrations were held in Tigray too. Tigray presidents, Ethiopian President Sahle-Work Zewde attended the main celebration, which was held in Adwa, where battle was fought between Italians and Ethiopians in 1896. Tadesse Varede was there, Sadkan was there, Debretsion was there, Getachew was missing. I think he's not in Ethiopia, it seems. Otherwise, he should have been there, but he was not seen in Adwa today. Sahle-Work Zewde spoke today in Adwa. Tadesse Varede delivered a speech as well. The celebration in Tigray was peaceful. Celebration at Addis Ababa a little controversial, but again everything ended peacefully. Second, Hassan Sheikh, Somalia, the president, is continuing the narrative against Ethiopia that Ethiopia wants to annex Somalia territory. Hassan Sheikh was in Turkey, where he attended Antalya Diplomacy Forum, and there he spoke and he said that basically Ethiopian government wants to divert attention from internal conflicts. That is why this MOU has been signed, and that Ethiopia is promoting secession of a territory of Somalia. So Ethiopia wants to annex Somalia's territories, and obviously it will hurt nation building attempts by Somalia's government. And Hassan Sheikh asked international community to work proactively to avert crisis. He said that the international community should play a proactive role. This is what Hassan Sheikh has been saying since Ethiopia signed MOU with Somaliland around 2 months ago, more than 2 months ago. And Hassan Sheikh's diplomatic campaign obviously led to pressure on Ethiopia and Somaliland. So far, MOU has not been implemented. Ethiopia rejects this narrative. Ethiopia says it does not want to harm Somalia. Rather, it wants to gain access to sea through Somaliland through peaceful means. Watch the clip from Turkey showing Hassan Sheikh speaking at Antalya Diplomacy Forum. Thank you for watching.
With all those multiple challenges, when a neighboring country again does that, intervene the local domestic politics, sensitize the people to go against the whole process of state building and all this, encouraging them to secede from Somalia, and that they will recognize as an independent state if they secede from Somalia, and then threatening Somalia that they will send their military and take over. And what they are claiming is that we have an agreement with regional authorities, so and so, to build military base inside Somali territory. So all these are the challenges. We have a history, long-term, 600-700 years of history with our neighbor, Ethiopia. Most of this history was not a good history. We've decided to change that history. The past is past. Learn from the past, move forward, and we were open for a diplomatic dialogue, economic integration, political aid. Unfortunately, when the leaders have internal problems and they want to divert the attention of the local people to outside problems, is a very serious problem. Ethiopian leadership is diverting their internal problems to outside so that the people say, we will recognize this region and we will get access to the sea. There are a large number of countries in the world who are landlocked, but all of them, they have access to the sea, and there are universally accepted standards how the landlocked countries access to the sea. That does not mean by annexing a country or taking territory from them or establishing a military basis inside. That's the only way we can access to the sea. This is what our neighbor is claiming, which is not very verifiable. Now, here I want to say is the world. The world, sometimes we need to differentiate between the people and difficult leaders. If we punish a country because they have bad leaders who doesn't believe the modern way, the civilized way of dealing problems, every conflict we know that when it will end up one day. How long it takes, how many people will suffer, all this, but at the end it will end with a diplomatic solution.
Okay.
So a preventive diplomacy, why can't we strengthen globally to prevent such disasters before it happens, rather than going after it and negotiating Gaza's problem, Palestine's problem, decades and decades and decades of suffering. And I'm sure one day, I don't know whether it's going to be tomorrow or the next century, but it will end one day in a diplomatic agreement and diplomatic manner.
We certainly hope so.
We hope so, and it will. That
unfortunately,
with millions
so
of the First World War and Second World War, it all ended up with
it did.